Look in just a sec, and then I know they can't wait to see the result.
Yeah, excited.
Wait for it, and boom. Oh my gosh, Demetrius, amazing.
Thank you.
The Eileen look into the variation with Tessa is absolutely gorgeous. The shine, the placement through it, and just turn from it just a bit. What I love is the spill of shading that come together, as well as the clarity of the blonde. Let me just spin her just a bit so we can see. Just subtly, there we go, from the side. The light is just bouncing from it. I'm in love. Tell me a little bit about what we've done into the prism.
With the prism, again, it's very simplistic, working with 4 different prisms that are more reduced prisms.
Yes.
And here we're again focusing on the fringe. What I love about the collection is that every technique, every look has a focus. So it's not about putting foils on the full head. Here we have working with Illumin as a really great way to, I guess, showcase multiple dimension within contrasting shades, and that's exactly what the collection's about. Instead of working with high contrasting and levels, we're working with shades that have a little bit of contradiction or contrast. So here with the deeper gray that's very shiny and reflective, I went in with Illumin instead of a colorant or top sheet just to get that more reflection that we want, usually that we don't find sometimes with an oxidative color. So here again playing with Illumin and working with the pinky rose next to one of my favorite shades within Colorant, which we'll see in a second.
Well, and I think this is special because, number one, I always feel that every hair color should complement the shape, right? One should not wear the other. And what's special about this, into the short bit of the fringe, into the disconnect to the side, it's just it's a new update into a classic short haircut, but it's a modern way of placing the hair color.
Exactly.
And I know within some of the highs and lows, I know we have a formulation grid for everyone. So let's take a look, because they got to see Tessa's before shot, where you could see her dark new growth and then into the existing blonde.
Right.
But into the placement overall, tell everyone, what was your background color?
The background, we worked with Illumin SV at 10.
And that was after a decolorizer retouch?
Absolutely. So we went in with Silk Lip to decolorize to a really pale yellow. Yes. And then we went in with our Illumin as an overlay, toner, and background foundation all at the same time. So here we maximized our technique and our time by doing everything all at one step.
Well, the clarity of the blonde, I think, is beautiful, because then into the tonal story of the warm meets cool, I know, let's talk about some of the accent shades, because accent 1 going through is more of that very soft rose, where it's more the pink shade that we can see.
It's very subtle, and that's what's really amazing about the collection. You have really subtle shades sitting next to maybe something that's a little bit more vibrant and intense. So we're working with things that have opacity, but also things that have and shades that have more reflection sitting right next to each other.
Of course.
And that's what's making it an optical illusion. That's what's driving you in to see a little bit more and taking that second glance.
Exactly. And then it moves them into what is that really beautiful shade into more of the smoky slate, right? Or even it kind of teeters into a deeper violet kind of slate, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Which was an AB at 9 plus 3 mils of NA at 2.
Yep. And everything, especially with working with Illumin, and something that's so detailed like 2 mils or 3 mils of a shade, you want to definitely weigh that versus just kind of eyeballing it to really create the perfect shade direction.
Now, one of my special pieces that you've done here is into the last prism section. Correct. Throughout the top. You've taken just a triangular piece that tied everything together, and it is a new Real Illusion shade of 10BB.
Right. This is our peachy beige.
A peachy full, because it just brings it all together. It's that either used as an accent or used as a blaze of finish shade, I think is absolutely stunning.
Well, it's the element of surprise. It's that wow factor, because you would never think something so cool as the background of the SV at 10.
But as it moves, as it's smooth, I think what's great is that as each is showcased into one another. It's absolutely lovely.
I think what really a great technical tip is that tapping in that background to create the perfect diffusion, foiling or diffusion, I think is still okay within the foil to create the soft blend and that soft transition between what is the background or that base color into the accent shades.
So I think this is a perfect example here, how I don't see the takeoff line from the scalp. It just naturally blends away from background into the shades.
Right, and you saw that within the technical of just going in and feathering and turning your brush and just having that that blurred line between the two shades.
Well, I think that she's absolutely lovely. And you know, tell me, into a side bit, we Zoom challenge. And now I know that, what is the first step as you're going to start into creating maybe what's the first approach that you would take?
The first approach is always storyboarding. So after you kind of had your idea or your concept and you've got inspired, you want to put it down. Just like if you were having a dream and you thought of something, and that's really crucial in really understanding and having that direction that's really positive and going into your shoot.
Absolutely. Well, tonight I know that we have a really wonderful way to share with them about how do I storyboard. You know, you hear it, but now how do I actually do it? Why don't we take a look at the next video, which is all about storyboarding.
I'm coming from London to LA, to Paris and to New York City. I wanna film this on Miami. I'm dreaming that Atlanta could be sweet, and baby I can see him in my mind. I'm not gonna stop until I find somebody.
Hi everyone, I'm Demetrius and I'm here with Timothy and Neil to share with you the journey to creating a perfect photo shoot. To start with, you need a strong vision and concept, and that begins with your story. So how do you create a winning concept? How do you bring together all of your inspirations and see how your concept emerges? First, explore all avenues of inspiration. From fashion, nature, architecture, cultural influences, whatever inspires you as an artist. As you start storyboarding, work to develop a clear vision of what you want to capture. Map out all your ideas for hair color, cut, styling, wardrobe, makeup, mood, and lighting. And finally, edit down your vision. Constantly refine your storyboard until you come to the perfect representation of your vision.
To start creating your storyboard, look for a clear set of images that best reflect your interpretation and come from anywhere. Before you begin, make sure to have a clear understanding of what the trend is that you are trying to interpret. Your storyboards should be a collage of images which best reflect or tell your story, for example, the hair, makeup, and clothing. Sometimes it is necessary to include a mood board and a storyboard to help in the design process of not only your technique and color inspiration, but also your styling and lighting.
Whenever I start my creative process, I always start with a storyboard. Here are some quick ideas to help you get started. Put all the images that inspire you up on a wall or a board. Look for common themes among all the images. Look for inspiration from all components of the trend. For example, wardrobe, makeup, hair, and lighting. Images should be reflective of your story or your moods. This is important because these images should be a reference point when used designing your color concept or technique. You may also want to include creative formulas that may help tell your color story.
I'm not gonna stop until I find somebody you love,
Demetrius, what a wonderful educational video into helping everyone understand what is storyboarding.
Right.
We already have a concept within the kaleidoscope effect, and we're sharing some of the variations on how do you actually take it further, but the storyboard itself, right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really important to really take that journey and always refer back to the storyboard during that process, because as a creative, it's very easy to kind of get excited and maybe overdo it, and it's all about editing down. And that's the really great thing about storyboarding, is that you can always go back to the direction that you really thought originally,
right?
And get inspired and then grow from that.
Well, and it's having a purpose and it's having a thought, right? And now, of course, you can keep editing that and adding to it, but once it comes to the day of a photo shoot, achieve what you actually wanted from your goal, and then after you've achieved it, then take it further and see what happens.
Your team and everybody to really understand your vision, so then you can really execute what you originally thought of.
I think it's brilliant, and I know that both of us are huge favorites of it, and it really is something that allows you to have a focus through your to-do list, really, throughout that day. So wonderful. Thank you, Demetrius.
Thank you.
With this, what I want to do, an eye candy that we have in store for you, I want to take you into the second look of the evening, which is called Enel. I see you have the Enel sectioning in. Tell me about it.
So we know within the kaleidoscope effect, there's through the front of the head shape, and then I used a second prism shape in the back that will be more reduced. So the first step would then be to build in her background foundation color, and so I'm going to be starting by tapping in and tracing around the sectioning and working that through everything from the round of the head shape down.
Okay, everything underneath of the sectioning, completely saturated with your top sheet formula, and then we'll start into design.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to let you have at it, and then we'll see what's happening next. You've completed the background around the full design. Tell us, what's the first step?
So the first step then is incorporating the background in a slice in through my first expanded pyramid. So I'm going to drop down the section, taking a slice, and just connecting through around the hairline. And this is just to make a connection or mirror connection between the sides. And again, this is tapping in at the scalp and then working that all the way through the section.
So full saturation of background just at the hairline. And that just kind of ties together what is happening on the shortness of the sides and also the length of the background in the back.
Exactly. It's going to tie in the story of the background from one side to the other. So now working into the top of my section, this again is the expanded prism. I'm now going to start into my weaves. So I'm going to be working with two weaves, two micro weaves to one slice. So in my first section, just taking out my weave, I'm going to subdivide. Just sectioning that away. And again, this is going to be incorporating my deepest shade of 5BV.
For weave, you're going to go deep within the underneath.
Deep within the underneath weave. And again, incorporating that all throughout and bringing it just into the scalp to incorporate that 5BV, and then dropping down the high. And this will be my lightest shade. So again, taking this all the way to the lip of the foil, taking it all the way through to the ends, closing that up. And just to make sure that I'm incorporating that low, and just going to incorporate it on scalp in that rotation.
Which will also transition happening next.
Transitioning into the next section. So the next section being just a slice of that deepest 5BV shade. So bringing that down. Again, placing in my foil. Now in a slice throughout my entire section. Putting it in on the scalp as well.
So far, you've done the microwave, then you've done a deep within the low, and then a high within the top prism,
exactly.
within the shape. And you break that by adding then just a full slice of the deep.
Again, with that microwave, it's lifting out that lightest and brightest shade. Placing a foil on the lower weave. And again, building in with my 5BV.